Hello. This is my first time doing this. Okay. So here's the situation. I'm standing mid-calf deep in the world's stickiest mud, looking at an overheating engine whose radiator cap just shot 3 feet above my head and landed God knows where. And I think, fuck, where are the lion? This is my third trip to Southern Africa to film wildlife. And I knew a lot of shit. I knew how far I could stand away from a bull elephant before it charged me. I knew the difference between an impala call and a baboon warning call. And I'd even seen 3 men get attacked by a leopard. I was badass. And badasses all have lion stories, except for me. I had never seen a lion. And I'd been traveling in Botswana by myself for about a week now. No sign of lion. I was a little disappointed, but I figured, like, hey, I'm by myself. It's a pretty good trip anyway. And being a badass, I didn't worry about all of the warning signs that I had come across. Warnings about traveling in Botswana as a young lady by yourself, or about not knowing how to really drive in the backcountry by yourself. And I particularly ignored some good advice when the woman told me, don't go down that road, it rained last night and it's muddy. And so I was really happy tracking these lion paw prints in the mud until I got stuck. And so here I am, standing in the mud, totally stuck, car overheating, lions around, jump back in the car, and I start to do my survival stop. I sit, I think, I observe, and I plan. And I sit, and I think, what the hell am I doing? Like, I'm not a badass. I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know how to drive on these back roads. And I'm all alone. I don't even have a cell phone. Like, not even a smartphone, like a cell phone. Nobody on the planet knows where I am right now. I need to get through this by myself. So I plan. And I think, okay, it's 3:30 in the afternoon. I could sit and I could wait for somebody who knows what they're doing to come by and come save me. But it's 3:30 in the afternoon, and in Africa time, that's like midnight. Nobody's coming by this road. And also, the rains have started, and this road is about to be closed for 6 months. So there's a possibility that I'm going to be a skeleton here at some point. So I can drive down to the town, where I will be in a town. So if the car dies, I'm at a mechanic, but that's 100 kilometers down the road, and I don't know how much mud is between me and there. Or I can go back to where I came from, which is 40 kilometers behind me. And I decide to do that. And I also decide, you don't need a radiator cap to drive a car, do you? Which, if I had a smartphone, I would have Googled and found out that, yes, absolutely, you do need to have a radiator cap to drive a vehicle. But anyway, I just start driving back, white-knuckled, cursing at myself. Why the hell did I think that I could go to Botswana by myself, drive off-road by myself, and go down this muddy road by myself? And the thermometer on the thing is like, just like a cartoon, like spinning around. And finally, the car dies. But it dies in front of Leopard Rock. And Leopard Rock, as you can tell, has leopards. And people like to come and try to find the leopards at dusk, which it was. And sure enough, I'm waiting around, and Lloyd Wilmont, this like white knight in his green Land Rover, comes down with a safari guest, and he sees me wearing like bright blue shorts, mud up to here, panicked, crying. And he's like, this girl needs help, and she is not a badass. And so he starts to help me, and the first thing that they do is like immediately find the radiator cap, which was just in the engine somewhere. And I like very quickly explained that I was afraid that the lions would eat me, and that's why I didn't look for it. So anyway, he like just takes me under his wing, and it was the most amazing thing. He fixed the car, kind of. He like took it down to the river and cooled it off, and then gave me a place to sleep and like this meal with like 6 kinds of meat. And the next morning, he took me with his safari guests. That was not an innuendo. It was a lot of really delicious meat. For someone who hadn't eaten in 5 days, it was amazing. But then the next one, he takes me with a safari guest, and we go on safari. And for someone who hasn't been able to see a lion in 6 days as she's traveling on her own, to see this family of lions playing, and the cubs were chasing toads, and the parents were all snuggled in the sun. It was amazing. And after that, not only, I was just filled with how could I have ever seen this when I made such a stupid mistake? I should be dead right now. The lions should have eaten me. But he takes his safari guest and they fly home, and then he and I start the trek back to town, and it's 160 kilometers. We can go 10 kilometers and then have to stop and fill up the car with water and wait 15 minutes. For 160 kilometers this happens. It takes hours. And this man was the most generous man I've ever met. He did that for me. He let me stay at his house for a few days while my car was getting fixed, and it was he never asked for a single thing. He was the most generous person, most charitable person I'd ever met. And looking back on this, I think, I should have never gone to Botswana by myself. I should have never driven off-road by myself. I should have never gone down that muddy road by myself. But had I not, I would have never met Lloyd and been opened up to this world of, just pure, charitable humanity goodness that I had never experienced before, who never asked for anything in return of all of the stuff that he didn't have to do. And I would have never seen a lion. So thank you. Yeah.